The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning here at 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. Halfway through our work week on this Wednesday, we begin with a sad turn of events following a minor car accident in Southwest Bakersfield. The crash involving two vehicles happened just before 5:30 last night on Coffee Road, just north of Stockdale Highway. According to Bakersfield police, those involved in the accident suffered just minor injuries, but a tow truck driver who showed up to help clear the scene suffered a medical emergency and died. His name has not been released.
The Bakersfield Police Department is asking for your help finding a missing teenage girl. 16-year-old Priscilla Alvarez was last seen on Teal Street yesterday. She was wearing a white crop top and blue Dickies pants. Police say this is the first time Alvarez has been reported as a runaway, so please consider her at risk. If you have any information on where she may be, you're asked to call police at 327-7111.
Today, two men accused of shooting and killing 3-year-old Major Sutton are scheduled to learn how much time they'll spend behind bars. Tyrone Johnson and David Palms took a plea deal for killing Sutton and wounding his pregnant mother and young brother in 2017. Both men have pleaded no contest to the crimes. However, you may remember the two broke out of jail last year and were on the run for a time before being recaptured. The judge in the trial says Johnson faces up to 42 years in prison, while Palms could get a 27-year term. Meantime, a couple from Lake Isabella accused of killing their baby will face a judge today. Jeffrey Solens and Ashley Safel are charged with murder in the death of a 1-year-old girl in January. According to documents, Safel told investigators a 32-inch flat-screen TV fell off a dresser onto the girl as she slept in a crib. But a pathologist who examined the baby allegedly found serious injuries. They'll be back in court today for a hearing. The couple admitted to fighting on a regular basis and told investigators they weren't the greatest parents. We have reported on this case for several months and have a more in-depth look at what happened on our website, kget.com.
A Bakersfield police officer who allegedly punched a man and then kicked him while he was down, breaking multiple bones, is set to appear in court later today. Court documents show Officer Damian Romero was off duty and walking his dog when he was hit by a car that drove off. Romero found the driver and admits to pushing the man to the ground. Documents also show he smashed the car's light and side mirror, causing more than $800 in damage. Romero faces felony assault and vandalism charges. Police said Romero is on paid administrative leave pending the outcome of an internal investigation.
It was touted as a record bust, agents seizing more than 100 pounds of potentially deadly fentanyl. So how did this alleged drug mule who was transporting it manage to escape federal authorities? NBC's Stephanie Gosk reports.
This is what 114 pounds of fentanyl looks like. Enough, the DEA says, to kill 25 million Americans. Seized back in June. DEA agents touted the bust and their fight against the deadliest drug on the streets.
Behind the scenes, there is aggressive and tenacious police work being done. We are not asleep at the wheel.
It was the single largest fentanyl seizure ever on an American highway, and it happened here on I-70 in Colorado, one of the main drug trafficking routes across the country. State police stopped a driver weaving in and out of traffic dangerously, and a quick-thinking state trooper realized something wasn't right. This state arrest affidavit obtained by NBC News laying out the details of the entire bust. The driver, David Maldonado, seemed nervous, said he had to go to the bathroom really bad. At a nearby exit, the Colorado State Patrol discovered what was really behind those nerves. Bags and bags of fentanyl stashed under the car's floorboards. State law enforcement told us what happened next was a debacle. According to the affidavit, once he was in custody, a DEA agent struck a deal with Maldonado. He would continue on to South Bend, Indiana, where he said he was headed, and lead them to the drug dealers. Maldonado hit the highway. He then promptly ditched a tracking device and the DEA and vanished.
Clearly, there's been a failure of operational planning and execution.
The DEA did not respond to our request for comment, but in a July statement to a Denver newspaper, the agency confirmed Maldonado is a fugitive, saying the defendant was offered the opportunity to work with the DEA to further the investigation. Subsequently, after agreeing, he changed his mind and was able to elude law enforcement.
We've got a record amount of fentanyl involved here. In fact, enough fentanyl to kill everyone in the state of Colorado. The individual who was delivering that amount of fentanyl is now in the wind.
U.S. Marshals are now leading the manhunt. There's no way to know for sure if the drugs were headed here to South Bend, but we decided to come and see if the fentanyl problem was an issue. And like so many cities and towns in this country, fentanyl is killing people. How bad is the problem right now?
How bad is it? It's everywhere.
Recently, 7 overdose deaths in a single week, all suspected to be from fentanyl.
All of a sudden in July of 2021, I began to notice almost all of my death certificates had some form of fentanyl listed on it.
Robin Vito works for the county's Department of Health. If there was a big bust, if someone was arrested who was dealing fentanyl in this city, would it help you guys?
Yes, hands down. We need to stop dangerous drugs from entering into our community.
The DEA says fentanyl is their top priority. Letting a suspect like David Maldonado slip away isn't going to help. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News, South Bend, Indiana.
Meantime, House Minority Leader and Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy will gather with local leaders this morning to discuss the dangers of fentanyl. McCarthy says he'll highlight the detrimental effects of the drug that is having on our nation's children and young adults and discuss solutions to this epidemic, including potential federal legislation. We'll have more on his message tonight on 17 News at 5.
2 more victims have been linked to a potential serial killer in the city of Stockton. Police there say they believe the suspect is already responsible for the killings of at least 5 men. Now they think he's also connected to 2 shootings last year, one that left a 40-year-old man dead and another that seriously wounded a 46-year-old woman. That woman is the first known survivor and is now working with police to find the killer. Authorities say all of the victims were ambushed and none of the shootings are being investigated as drug or gang related. A $115,000 reward is currently being offered for information that leads to an arrest.
This morning, Merced County Sheriff's deputies have a person of interest in custody. He is believed to be connected to the kidnapping of a family of 4. Esteban Reynoso with our sister station in Fresno has more.
I'm Amandeep's wife, and I have 6-year-old and 9-year-old kid. They are waiting for their dad.
Please return our family back to safety.
All of you.
A wife without her soulmate.
You know, for
Please
our
return
governor,
my family back.
A family missing a father. Jaspreet Kaur has been without her husband Amandeep Singh, the uncle who was kidnapped along with the family for more than 24 hours now. Deep Singh is a cousin to the victims. He's opening up about the toll this ordeal has taken so far.
we're going through hell, man. We cannot even imagine what my family is going through right now.
Singh and his brother and his sister-in-law and their 8-month-old baby, Ahuri, all still missing, even with the suspect now in custody. The Merced County Sheriff's Office say they are still searching for the 4 missing family members. Carr is trying to figure out what to tell her young children, her cousin mustering the words to express their pain.
Imagine what's going on with her right now. Her kids are waiting for the dad. She's waiting for the husband.
To my kids.
Have you told them anything?
We cannot. What should we tell them? We're just hoping, before we get to that point, we get our family back. That's all we want.
Another cousin says they're finding strength through their faith.
We're trying to stick to, our religion, our faith, Sikhism. It talks about Chardikla, which means stay in high spirits. That's what's getting us, through this.
Getting through this as the family still tries to understand why someone would do something like this. Speaking here about Amandeep, wondering how such a kind man could be caught up in this nightmare.
Guy is a gentle soul. He wouldn't hurt a fly. Talking to everybody in our family, we think maybe this is what got him in the trouble. Overly helpful, trying to get back to a community, and somebody took advantage of that.
Amandeep's wife ending with a final plea to whoever is listening.
My family is my strength, and I'm doing everything for them. Please return my family back, please.
In Merced County, Esteban Reynoso.
This morning, President Biden heads to Florida to survey the damage left behind from Hurricane Ian. As we've been reporting, the hurricane was one of the strongest storms to hit the United States. At least 100 people died from Ian, and officials are still trying to search for survivors. Right now, more than 500,000 homes and businesses are still without power. Later today, President Biden will meet with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and put both their political differences aside and help Floridians recover from this storm.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.